Thank you very much. The Intelligence Community Inspector General said in his interview that a number of special employees were hired to work in the FOIA office, and this raised significant concerns among the career people in the State Department. That's what the document says. At least one of the special employees worked for Williams and Connolly. Who approved the hires? Was it Kennedy? Who got them clearances? And is it a conflict of interest to have a lawyer working in the FOIA office handling Hillary Clinton's emails while the same firm ultimately represents her in this case?
Sure. Let me try to quickly answer your questions. So the department did hire additional personnel, and that included attorneys to assist it with a broad range of oversight matters related to this FOIA process.
Did Kennedy approve those hires?
So let me finish. These attorneys are appointed under either a Schedule A or the federal personnel system, rather Schedule A of the federal personnel system, or a limited term appointee, neither of which would require any kind of advertisement. I can't speak to whether Pat Kennedy himself would have hired these individuals. I don't believe that's necessarily the case. But we have the utmost confidence that these attorneys performed to the highest professional and ethical standards.
So
and that includes in connection with the review and release of Secretary Clinton's emails. And your question was about some kind of conflict of interest.
That's correct. With
So,
Kate Duvall
right, of Williams and Connolly. So, and we've talked about this before. The mere fact of previously working at what is a very large law firm does not in and of itself constitute a conflict of interest. Williams and Connolly, as I said, is a very large firm, and we are not aware of any counsel working on Clinton-related oversight matters at the department that they did so prior to joining the department. So there's no conflict of interest there.
The Inspector General told the FBI that these hires, quote, created a conflict of interest, appeared to create a conflict of interest, particularly Kate Duvall, who was possibly involved in the Lois Lerner, Internal Revenue Service situation. But the State Department's position is there was no conflict.
There was no conflict of interest.
Nothing
again, and let me just say, since you named her, Kate Duvall is an exceptional professional, and the department and the Secretary of State had full trust and have full trust and confidence in her work at the department.
She's still working here? I thought she left.
No, I said had.
Yeah,
Sorry, full trust and confidence.
She's gone.
We also, and again, I'll just state it one more time, that Williams and Connolly is a large law firm. There's no conflict of interest if lawyers working for Williams and Connolly, but we're not working on issues related to Secretary Clinton's.
But it says here she was working in the FOIA office reviewing the emails.
No, I'm saying she was, when she was here, she was specifically hired, as were other lawyers, on oversight matters related to these emails. And there was a legal component to these emails and their release, and certainly we wanted legal oversight.
Just stating an obvious fact that Williams and Connolly is a large law firm does not necessarily mean that there's absolutely no way there was a conflict of interest.
I said we're not aware that that either of these individuals worked.
Aware of.
Well,
But I mean,
we certainly vetted them.
It's
not like we just drove down the street and said,
the question is,
hey.
at least it gives an appearance. It could give the appearance of at least an appearance of a conflict of interest. And your response is Williams and Connolly is a large law firm.
All I'm saying, Matt, is that it is possible to work in Williams and Connolly and not have a conflict of interest.
Yes,
and then if you then go and work on Clinton,
but it's not.
Is it really possible? I mean, this isn't an indictment on her specifically, but isn't any? Wouldn't you say that any employee that is also any person that's working that's also an employee of the law firm that Hillary Clinton's was representing?
Wait a
her?
second, they weren't at the same time. I mean, let's be very clear here. They weren't.
years.
I mean, they were.
Did she leave Williams and Connolly to come to
Yes.
the State Department?
Yes.
Okay. Well.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
So
Yes,
that
it wasn't
doesn't-
like they were
I
working.
mean, can't you just at least acknowledge the appearance of impropriety?
I-
You don't think that there's any
I-
reason that anybody should
Let's put it this way.
question that
Let's
there's
put
a
it this
conflict
way.
of
I think
interest?
with respect to Pat Kennedy, with respect to this, I think there's enough politicization, if I could put it that way,
Actually,
politicizing the role of these individuals, given the current campaign season here, that
Well-
you don't need me to lend one way or the other
No, actually, that's respectfully.
my opinion. All I'm
Respectfully, I
trying to
think to
do here,
dismiss-
all I'm trying to do here is say that we don't believe there was any conflict of interest with these individuals, that it's possible to work for a law firm and then come to work for the State Department on a different issue and not have a conflict of
Okay,
interest.
but respectfully, to dismiss questions about potential conflict of interest and reduce them to just mere politicization, I think disrespects the people in this room that are following the State Department day in, day out, and are asking questions about the employees in this building.
Yeah, I would just say, Mark, that while Williams and Connolly, yes, is a large law firm, one would think that if one was in the position of hiring outside people to come in and look at this, you might, it's, in addition to it being a large firm, it's not the only law firm in town. This place is lousy with lawyers. Didn't anyone think that it might be less, give less of an appearance of a potential problem if you found someone from a law firm that didn't represent Secretary Clinton?
Again, we did not see a conflict of interest. We vetted these individuals before they came to work here.
You may well have, and I'm not suggesting
I
that
know.
you didn't.
You're
this
saying
town
the
has
optics.
got 1 billion law firms. Well, all right, maybe not 1 billion. It's got a
I
lot
understand
of
your
them.
point.
And a lot of lawyers in town have expertise in this. It just seems that you could have avoided, or someone would have raised a potential red flag, unless these people were the absolute only two or whatever, how many lawyers in town that have, which is impossible because there's too many of them.
Yes.
Maybe not too many. There are many of them. Right?
I don't know how you want me to answer that. Thank you, guys.